My updated information is that everything is still on the table, including all the trades you've heard about. And I know the Patriots have said, that's over, but, maybe they're less likely. But I think that Steelers scenario where you get picks, flip a pick, get a player from someone else is on the table. I wouldn't rule out Washington. And I know there have been reports that the Commanders are out, but they just traded a receiver today. Adam Peters and John Lynch obviously can communicate very easily on this. That's the other team besides the Steelers that Aiyuk has, honed in on as where he wants to go.
That, of course, is Mike Silver, our pal who is connected throughout the NFL, of course, with the Chronicle. We'll discuss it in a minute. It's Papa and Lund. Thanks for joining us. We're live in Vegas, getting you ready for the final preseason game between the Raiders and the 49ers. We're having flashbacks, which we'll discuss a little bit later. SiriusXM Studios at the Wynn, Las Vegas. So if you're heading into town and you're listening up to us, stop on by and say hello. We're also on YouTube and Twitch. And if you didn't look at us and watch us today, you would be wasting a
You've never looked better, John.
I haven't.
You've never looked better.
Lighting is very soft.
Are you wearing makeup on radio?
No, I wouldn't do that. I would not.
Lancome 35 or Lancome 30? You look good.
I wish that we had that Wagner power painter we used to have.
Linda.
Linda was amazing.
Yeah, she'd spray paint you.
Yeah, and then she would ask me, she'd be like, here's a wipe to take it off. I'm like, what are you kidding? I'm going out on the town. You just made me up.
I'll leave it on.
It's as good as I'm going to look ever.
Yeah, I go to bed with it on.
I'm not watching this on
The pillows are a little discolored by morning, but we're all good to go. So anyway.
I love it.
This is one of the best TV studios I've ever been in. And it's technically, it's SiriusXM. It's state of the art, but it's for podcasting and everything. It's great. Anyway. I hear what Mr. Silver is saying, and Mike and I are good friends, and I understand the trade of Dotson. He went to Philadelphia, by the way. Philadelphia, what are they paying for their offense?
Well, he's their new slot. I mean, how much do you need there? Now they've got, they have Devontae under a lot of money. You got A.J. Brown a lot of money.
It's the
Dotson
most expensive offense. And
yes.
I mean, everything is year to year, but it's the most expensive offense in the history of the NFL. They obviously redid the quarterback, Jalen Hurts. They brought in Saquon Barkley. Christian makes a little bit more, but Saquon, is he the second highest paid running back in the NFL? They redid both of their wide receivers, as you mentioned. Dotson's been around the league a little bit, so he makes more money. He'll go into the slot. And they got some money on the offensive line at right tackle. I know Kelsey retired at center, but they got some guys. Mailata makes money, Dickerson, and he's a young guy, but Lane Johnson makes money. And then the tight end makes money, Dallas Goedert. So it's the most expensive offense. And you look at the distribution on Philadelphia's team from offense versus defense. All of their money is in offensive players, and their defense are young guys.
That's why they're doing it.
So it's interesting. Let's just see how it works. So a lot of pressure on Kellen Moore and really Jalen Hurts. But anyway, when Adam Peters traded Dotson, it did open up a spot. But Brandon Aiyuk would fit with Terry McLaurin. There, obviously. Dotson's a slot guy. He works out of the slot. He's different than Brandon, who's a pure X. I was surprised that Washington wasn't more in it in the offseason, not just with Jaden Daniels, and now he's the starter. Adam Peters was, obviously, John Lynch makes the ultimate call in ownership and Kyle, but Adam Peters does the legwork on college players all year, and he's the guy that found, because he played at UCLA, he found Brandon Aiyuk playing for Herm Edwards, and obviously John knows Herm really well from their Tampa days, and Herm coached him. So I was surprised Washington was not involved in this from the start. But any trade right now, I think we're going to have a resolution here soon. I hope so, John. We talked about Insulation Day being 2 weeks from yesterday, and tomorrow's going to be a meaty practice when we look at the calendar from 2 weeks from today to get ready from the Jets. So the time is now to get Brandon Aiyuk signed. So I know all the rumors, and I saw Pittsburgh's in play and Silver's saying Washington. Obviously, this could go any direction, but I think the 49ers are really moving towards one direction, and it's to get to Brandon Aiyuk signed. So I would think we may, hopefully get this thing resolved shortly.
Do you buy into, because what Silver is saying, and I think the difference, because people are driving around their car going, Brandon Aiyuk again, but it sounds to me like the news is Washington could be in play. And the reason why that's significant is that that's the place, other than the 49ers, that he has openly said he wants to go because Jaden Daniels and he played at Arizona State together, speaking of Brandon Aiyuk, and that would be a place. Plus, there's the connection of Adam Peters, who was with the 49ers as the assistant GM for so many years. So there's a connection there. I don't know what Washington would give up. Now, their first-round pick, they're giving up a first. I still think in that division, Washington's the last place. Well, maybe the Giants are the last-place team, but still, that might be a 7-8 win team, so that's a pretty good first-round pick. Washington back in play. What do you make of that?
Well, I think is Mike doing that based on reporting and what he's being told, or is he doing it based on Jahan Dotson just got traded from Washington to Philadelphia?
Just connecting dots.
And now, you can't do it that way. And Mike knows what he's doing. He's well connected. I'm not saying it's unfounded. But they were not involved in this. What would they pay him? I mean, Pittsburgh's offer to him reportedly was under the $28 million figure that reportedly the Niners had bumped it up to.
Right.
And now we're hearing the Niners have moved it up to $30 million.
Yeah.
So I honestly, I understand where we're going with this, and it's certainly a fluid situation. But I think the Niners are really looking to get this over the goal line and get this guy signed. And I think we're going to have a resolution here shortly. When they come back from Vegas, they'll have the weekend off, and then they'll have some extra practices next week. They got a cut on Wednesday, player for a purpose dinner. It's a dinner, but it's outside, more informal for charity for the 49ers Foundation. But anyway, you'd like to have him there and signed, and you'd like to have Trent Williams. Larry Baer was always good about the play ball luncheon, making an announcement. We just signed Matt Cain. We just signed Buster Posey. You want to go into that with your whole roster and kind of be a kickoff to the season. It's not like a pep rally in the NFL, but it kind of feels that way. So I understand that, all these things could go different scenarios because it's been New England, Cleveland, Washington, Pittsburgh. You don't know. But I think Aiyuk wants to be a Niner, and I think they're getting close to get this deal done. They just got to get it over the goal line now.
Trent Williams, it sounds to me that that's going to be a done deal, that most people believe that's going to be a done deal sooner rather than later. And I also think that he's going to be ready. But the discussion you and I keep having is today is Friday, obviously August 23rd. You talked about this yesterday. Installation day for the opener against the Jets, really good defense, is yesterday. So Brandon Aiyuk, because
Trent won't practice anyway.
No,
he always
right.
skips installation. He comes in the next day.
So I'm not worried about that.
So 2 weeks from today, he needs to be on the field.
But as far as Brandon Aiyuk is concerned, if they're at the 30, help me out with this. I'm terrible with math. If they're at the 30 number,
30 million, not the 30-yard line,
right? If they're at the 30 million mark, which is
then sign the contract.
The whole Amon-Ra St. Brown, right?
It's based on, but 30 is just 30.
But it's the guarantees and all that.
There's
stuff.
a big. I mean, and Justin Jefferson's at 35, but look at the.
But they wrote a check for what, 88?
$87.5 million. The Wilfs wrote him a check.
So
that is a signing bonus. You walk hands and knees to the bank to deposit that. That's fully guaranteed is when they give you a check. This is your money. That's insane amount of money. Amon-Ra St. Brown didn't get anywhere near those kind of guarantees from Brad Holmes and the Lions.
So that sounds to be the holdup, right?
It's
how big's the check?
That's what Garofalo reported last Friday, a week ago. They've agreed to the first 3 years of the deal, which is, I don't want to say, 3/4 of it. You go to the fourth quarter and you're winning. But if you've got the first 3 years done, now we're just looking at the guarantee in the fourth year. But that's the number. Say you guaranteed them 2 years of the three, maybe even all three of the three, and then the fourth year there's a buyout involved. That's where because how much are you putting into it? Say he signs a 4-year deal for $30 million. Is it going to be 30, 30, 30, 30?
No.
So, what's that fourth year?
They're even going to drop the number, that $14 million that he's due this year. They'll actually drop that number for the first year.
So what would the fourth year be? 35, 40? Because you got CeeDee Lamb is coming up. Jamar Chase is coming up. What other wide receivers want to get done, John? So that fourth year is going to be the big balloon payment. That's the one, if you're Ryan Williams' agent and Brandon, you're looking at and you're saying, how much of that is guaranteed? Because you're backloading the contract. So whether it's been reported, I think they've offered 30. You probably think it would be a 4-year deal. The question now is how much are they guaranteeing on the fourth year? How high can you put the buyout number where you're guaranteed the first 3 years or 2.5, whatever it is, plus that number in the fourth year to buy me out?
Matt Maiocco is coming up next, but in terms of how confident you feel, I'm not asking you for an outright, but as far as, because we're all of a sudden we're hearing Washington again and everything else, I thought that they were just nearing the goal line on this thing. Are you confident that this is going to get done?
What did I scream last week on the show? Aiyuk, Aiyuk is going nowhere.
And do you feel
and then
stronger
he's gonna
about
be
that
on
now?
fire. I don't know. Adam Peters could offer him. What if he gives up? What do you want from Washington's roster? They added a lot of good players in the offseason. I don't know, but I don't think the deal he wants is out there, and the trade partners were out there. They had trades in New England and Cleveland, Pittsburgh reportedly, and for New England offered him $32.5 million. They didn't want to go there. Pittsburgh didn't offer him 28. What is Washington really offering, John and company? I'd like to see that trade. How would that phone call go? Hey, John, AP here.
They know that would be.
I'm the one who found Aiyuk. Don't forget that.
Exactly.
Well,
That's probably what he's saying, right?
He's your problem. I don't know. But I do feel a sense of confidence that Aiyuk wants to be a Niner, and they want him to be a Niner. And if you believe all the reports, John, they're close. Just get it over the goal line.
All right, it's Papa and Lund. Thanks for joining us. We're live in Vegas, the SiriusXM Studios at the Wynn Hotel, Las Vegas. Stop on by and say hello to Papa and I. But coming up next, the latest. Matt Maiocco. Not only will we get the latest on what's going on with Brandon Aiyuk and Trent Williams, but there's an actual game here in Las Vegas tonight, despite us having flashbacks. Who's going to play, how long they're going to play. Starters for the Niners, it sounds like, for the majority are going to play. The Raiders are playing nobody. So if you'd like to play for the Raiders tonight, I think they're taking applications. We'll talk to Matt Maiocco about it coming up next, only here on the Sports Leader. Let's talk to our good friend Matt Maiocco. Make sure that you're following him. The 49ers Talk podcast as well, reading all his great stuff. It gives the insight on what's going on for the game tonight. Papa and Lund here. And Matt Maiocco joins us courtesy of the Uman Guest Line. What's happening? How are you?
I'm doing great. You guys are in Vegas already?
We're at the Wynn. We're at SiriusXM Studios at the Wynn. Are you in Sin City yet?
I am not. I'm staring out at the tarmac at SFO and getting ready to grab a flight to Vegas. And it's going to be a quick turnaround for me. Game tonight and then heading back.
More silver and black on the plane or red and gold on the plane?
I don't know. I haven't really. Looks like I think I did see more 49ers colors going through the airport. So I don't know if that's a great indication. But, it seems like there are more 49er fans going to this game than should be going to a preseason game on the road.
Matty, I can tell you, and I just did this for research purposes only, having kind of walked around a little bit last night, a lot of Niner fans.
Uh-huh.
I don't know why, because this is the scene of the
research.
crime.
You're doing diligent research, John. I'm very impressed.
Many bars, many casinos. But I'm shocked because, to me, this is like return to the scene of the crime. I went back a week later because there was a U2 concert. My wife had already done it, so after 10 days in Vegas. But still, I'm walking around here and seeing all these flashbacks from the Super Bowl. I'm like, I don't know that I would have come back as a fan willingly, at least this soon.
Yeah, well, at least the 49ers didn't have to practice on the field at UNLV. So
don't get Greg started.
I think that's a big reason. I know they won't admit it, but that contributed to Dre tearing his Achilles, and likewise for Daniel Bullock's. But we're moving on.
We're not even going to mention Debo kind of pulling up with a hammy,
with a hamstring injury, without a doubt.
Yeah.
All right.
We're not gonna mention any of that, huh, Greg?
No.
I'm moving on. So Brock's going to play a little bit tonight, but really, and we'll see how he does. And then they're going to throw some guys out there with him to give him better weaponry. But the backup quarterback, the battle to be Brock's backup, as we're dubbing it, this duel in the desert. How do you look at this between Brandon Allen and Josh Dobbs? And is it so even right now? Kyle did say they're tight, that tonight could largely decide who's going to be the backup.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to kind of see who's leading because so much of those decisions are based on what a guy sees, what he says in the film room. But I do think that when you've watched Brandon Allen from day one at training camp and even throughout the off season, he seems to be more decisive. He gets the ball out of his hand quicker than Joshua Dobbs. And so that would tend to make me think that he's doing what he's coached to be doing. So the eyeball test will tell you that Dobbs has been much more exciting and, running around against the Tennessee Titans and making a play last week where he probably scrambled, 55 yards for a gain up the sideline. But that doesn't necessarily mean that he's doing the right things. It depends on if he made the right read at the line of scrimmage, if he saw it clearly pre-snap and post-snap, maybe on those plays the ball could have been out of his hand earlier. So let's just say a 15-yard scramble could end up being a negative play in Kyle Shanahan's book because he wants it the way he scripted it. So who would be more apt to step in and be similar to Brock Purdy? My guess is right now that it'd probably be Brandon Allen, but I don't think it's at the point where one guy has just ran away and hid from the other. My other guess is the longer that Joshua Dobbs is in the system and hears from Shanahan and Brian Griese and whomever else, Clay Kubiak, that maybe he's kind of getting more up to speed. I mean, this is a guy that has shown that he doesn't need a whole lot of reps to go in and function as an NFL quarterback. So might he be better suited to be the number 3? Will the 49ers keep 3 on the 53? So all those are things that, I don't know, that I'm not privy to, that nobody is, but that's where the decision will be made, not necessarily who has the better stat line at the end of the game tonight, but who grades out with a more clean sheet when Kyle Shanahan goes back and looks at it.
Matt Maiocco is joining us, of course. Make sure you're following him at Maiocco MBCS, reading his great stuff in the 49ers Talk podcast as we wrap up the preseason tonight at Allegiant Stadium here in Las Vegas, Raiders and 49ers. By the way, as I look at your profile here on X, entering season number 30 covering the 49ers, which coincides with the last time the 49ers won a Super Bowl.
Jinx.
Not blaming you at all.
I think we're on a streak of you mentioning it 30 times in a row.
He does.
In regards to who's going to play, which the Raiders are going to play nobody, and the 49ers are going to play starters at least, except for the sacred Niners aren't going to play. Obviously, McCaffrey's not playing, Bosa's not playing, Warner's not playing, Kittle's not playing, I wouldn't think. So
maybe he will. He played last year in the preseason.
So in terms of how long guys will play, and there was I don't know if you would even call it a controversy, maybe a little bit of kicked up dust, Brock playing behind the offensive line that obviously did not feature Trent Williams, but did offer a lot of starters, or at least 3 starters, I guess it was. So how long do you expect to see these guys tonight for the Niners?
I would say 1 full quarter, and those guys, you mean basically Purdy, right? Purdy in the starting offensive line.
I guess I should just say Purdy.
Yeah, because I don't know that Debo will play. Obviously, McCaffrey won't play. And so I mean, when you look at it, if the Raiders aren't playing any of their guys, and I'm thinking specifically about Max Crosby, then, what the 49ers put out there for their starting offensive line in this game tonight, I mean, they have to prepare as if that's going to be their starting offensive line for week 1. Now, I think we all expect Trent Williams to rejoin the team probably at some point early or mid-week next week. We'll see if that comes to fruition. But when you look at it, who's, I guess, other than left tackle, let's just say that Jalen Moore, let's just say Trent Williams isn't ready to go, then it's going to be Jalen Moore at left tackle to open the season. If Aaron Banks isn't available week 1, which he should be, then it would be, Nick Zakelj at left guard. But the other guys are more than likely going to be the starters week 1. I mean, I think, Jake Brendel, you're talking Dominic Pooney, who I think has I think he's solidified that job because, Spencer Burford, although he started half the season last year, he did get benched for John Feliciano. He did make, the critical mistake in the Super Bowl. And so it's not as if Burford was a finished product and, did not need training camp to get ready for the season. So I think Pooney is playing at a level, and again, it's only the preseason, so teams aren't doing a whole lot with their defensive fronts to create a lot of confusion there. But, eyeball test, Pooney looks just fine at right guard. And then, of course, Colton McKivitz is starting right tackle. So I don't know that other than Trent Williams that the offensive line heading into this game looks considerably different than what it could look when the 49ers start the regular season.
Isaac Guerendo is going to make his pro debut tonight, and it's a preseason game. It's not a regular season game, but still, he's going to wear number 49. And Elijah Mitchell, I think, is getting over the hamstring strain, and you got Jordan Mason up. You may see a little Patrick Taylor, the former Packer. But with Guerendo, in particular because of his speed and size. I think you may see him run back a kickoff tonight because he certainly has that skill set from college. Where is he at? Jacob Cowing was hurt all training camp just about and showed out on Sunday. Now he's in the mix. Could Guerrero make that kind of leap in this last game?
Well, I think the 49ers, it's not like Isaac Guerrero in my mind is like competing for a spot on the team. I think his spot was pretty much solidified when not only they took him in the fourth round of the draft, but they traded up to take him in the fourth round of the draft. And with his, 4.38 speed? Does that sound right, Greg?
He's in the 4.3 and he weighs 221 pounds.
Exactly. And at that size, he was the fastest running back at the combine. So he's going to make the team. And it's not, I don't think it's necessarily for this year. I mean, maybe if there's some attrition at the running back position, he would find his way onto the field. But, when you look at it, Elijah Mitchell is scheduled for free agency next offseason. Jordan Mason would be a restricted free agent next offseason. So as the 49ers often do when they draft a guy, they're looking not for necessarily for that player to contribute as a rookie, but for him to contribute year two. So I don't think the 49ers would be in a spot where they would even take the chance of exposing him to waivers and losing him. So it's funny because I just said that about the rookies. They don't necessarily draft for this year. But then again, when you look at the top three picks, I mean, those are all three guys who have a chance to not only contribute, but contribute in a big way. And that is something I did not expect when the 49ers had this draft because, you kind of looked at the roster and said, well, there's not a whole lot of opportunities for rookies to step in. But with Ricky Pearsall, with Renardo Green, and with Dominic Pooney, I mean, those are three guys that could have very significant roles early this season.
Guerendo's actually a 4.33, Matty.
4.33.
That's what. I mean, but think about it. So Danny Gray runs a 4.33, and he weighs 200 pounds. Guerrero runs a 4.33, John, and he weighs 221 pounds on that frame. Yeah. Big difference.
Yeah, and it showed. I forget. I don't think you were out there at practice on. Okay, I'm trying to backtrack my days here. I think it was Tuesday.
Yeah,
so Tuesday
they featured him. They featured him, yeah.
Yes, they did. So he was, the first carry he got, I will say this, it looked different. It just the way he blasted through the hole, and it was a non-padded practice, so there was no even thumping. But just the way he blasted through the hole, it's the first time I've seen him since the off-season program, really, because I mean, if it wasn't his first touch of training camp, I mean, it was early in that very first practice that he popped his hamstring, and turned out, wasn't. I mean, when he went down, I was thinking, oh my gosh, is this a season ender? Like right from the beginning, and it hasn't turned out that way. He came back over a matter of weeks, but you can tell. I mean, he's got a little something to his, to that burst and the size. So I would expect him to see, I don't know how much, but certainly a few touches here tonight.
Matt Maiocco is joining us. Pop and Lund. We're live in Las Vegas getting ready for the final preseason game between the 49ers and the Raiders here on the Sports Leader. I heard you on the morning show the other day, and you sounded very optimistic in terms of Aiyuk, Williams, and Pearsall. You said that you think if you were a betting man. I'm going to ask you again because I was kind of surprised.
He's going to ask you right now.
Well, because you said you thought you would see all three, and I'm with you on Trent Williams. I think that's going to get done. Pearsall, I'm not sure, and Aiyuk, I'm not sure. So a couple of days later, just because this is like a soap opera, as the Brandon Aiyuk turns. So the three guys that are in question, what do you think their week one status will be?
Well, and here's the caveat is that with Trent Williams and Brandon Aiyuk, we don't know what they've been doing. I mean, I see Brandon Aiyuk. I haven't seen him this week, but the week before he was out on the practice field. So you just never know, like, what kind of physical condition a guy is in. And a guy can be in great physical condition, but then get out there and practice for the first time with pads on. I think they're allowed one practice with pads on this coming week, and then the next week they'll have at least one as well. So you never know how a guy's body is going to respond to putting the pads on and going through practices back-to-back practices when he hasn't been out there on the field. So I'll kind of use that as the qualifier. The other thing I'd like to say about Aiyuk is that I'm done. I'm done making predictions. I'm done giving my opinion of what's going to happen.
No, you're not. You have bosses, and they demand it that you have an opinion. Your bosses.
What if this goes on another 2 weeks, Maiocco? How could you be done? I know we all got.
Keep this clip because this is not true.
Angst,
Keep this clip.
Here's my opinion is I don't know what the heck is going to happen. I mean, I still think. And here I go. I'm going to make an opinion.
See, I knew it.
You're the newsbreaker.
I thought it was going to take a minute.
You're the one that tells us what's going on. Yeah. We don't know. We need you.
Exactly. Here's the thing. I don't know that anybody knows. I don't know that Brandon knows what's going to happen or what he wants. And I think the 49ers, I think I know what they want, but I don't know that they're all that confident that they can get there with Aiyuk. And I don't know that they can get there with one of the other teams that they might still, they might be talking to or not. And, from the first time I reported some news on this, a lot has changed, but nothing has changed.
Right.
It's been, yeah. Oh, geez, there you go again. It's been 30 years, hasn't it?
30 years. People call it Maiocco.
So, I mean, the latest, and Mike Silver alluded to this yesterday, was that, he's hearing Washington might still be involved. And the first things I heard was, Washington, they kind of kicked around a little bit and ultimately decided it wasn't for them. It didn't make sense. But now, everything I think kind of remains on the table. And, there were all these reports of this week about, just all it needs is ownership to sign off on it. Well, I don't know that that's necessarily the case. The other reports of, the 49ers and the Steelers have a deal and all it's going to take is, whatever. 49ers.
How many are playing week one? How many are the three?
You're going back. You're going to read now.
One is Pearsall going to play? Okay, Aiyuk. Okay, you feel good about Trent Williams at least, right?
No? Yes, as long as he makes it through. Let's just go.
What about Pearsall?
Let's just go 2.
All right, that's fair.
2 out of 3 ain't bad. Which 2?
Which
exactly.
2? He's just leaving it open. That's a smart man.
I got a free meatloaf dinner here at the buffet.
That's actually a smart man right there.
Yeah,
going 2 out of 3, and who knows who.
I'll tell you which 2 next week.
Okay, you're the best.
No, I mean here's the thing with Pearsall is that I see him running and doing all those things. And the guy never missed a game in college. And when I say never, I mean that's literal. He did not sit out any games due to injuries in college. And I think he was in college for like 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 years. So he played a lot of football.
Kind of like John.
Yeah, just like me.
You have to. You can't tell me that just watching him that he did not play through some stuff. So I think that they're just being super cautious with him and that he'll be out there Monday night. I mean, still, what is it? It's still, 18 days away? I don't know, something like that.
17 days, I think.
17 days away.
2 weeks from Monday.
Yeah. Yep. And he showed me, at least, again, eyeball test, that he has a really good head start on knowing what he's doing. So I don't think it'll take him much time at all to get out there working with Purdy to be ready for that game Monday night.
All right, Matty. We'll see you. We'll see you tonight at Allegiant Stadium, and thank you so much. Sorry to put you on the spot, and I'm sorry that.
Are you talking on the airplane?
Not the jinx.
Are you one of those guys that's sitting in your seat on the airplane, yelling into your phone? Is that you?
No. I'm staring out. I'm right by the gate. I think about 20 minutes. But I will say this: you guys have thoroughly. Oh, look at that! I almost got hit by that canister.
What happened?
You guys have thoroughly exhausted me, and I'm going to.
I know. I can hear it.
Sleep on the plane.
Honestly, the last 3 times I've spoken to you, like you were in Nashville and you were pacing back and forth.
It just fell. But pots and pans are falling off the airplane.
Matt just ran over.
I don't think the propeller fell off.
Let's hope not.
I would not.
Hope you're not on a propeller plane.
I'd rent a car and drive. You can make it by 7 o'clock.
No problem.
I was going to say, at this point, that might be the best option. Just have the propeller fall off.
Fly well,
brother.
We'll see you
tonight.
later.
All right. All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you, Matty.
All right, that's the great Matt Maiocco. He's at SFO. It's Pop and Lund as we're live from the SiriusXM Studios at the Wynn Las Vegas. Stop on by and say hello. I will say one thing for my easily distracted mind. We must be near the pool, and because we're seeing a lot of young ladies.
I haven't noticed, John.
I didn't mean
my eyes are locked on you and the stream, and I'm not looking this way at all.
You're a waver. You're like you're a guy like you're a waver. You don't even turn and look.
Come on
you just
in.
wave. It's amazing. All right, we'll talk more about this because Mike Silver. It wasn't the only thing he said yesterday when he talked about Brandon Aiyuk and Washington being back in it. He had one more concerning thing to say that we must discuss. We'll start off the 11 o'clock hour with it. It's Pop and Lund only here on the Sports Leader.